Okay, so in summary, at work, I am perceived as an intimidating dick, and you're perceived as like some crazy psycho.
Crazy, bubbly, insane. You ever feel like on the inside you're not really happy? So you question yourself like, yeah, okay, I am bubbly, I'm happy, I'm charismatic, but deep down inside, am I truly that? Issues where you feel like, is it a front that you're putting on and playing and manipulating your own mind to actually perceive yourself as happy, but in reality you're just...
This is why we need to like link up our brains and have all of our thoughts transparent to each other.
And then what?
Anything that's alive, a living consciousness,
okay,
is connected, and then the whole planet wakes up. It's another body, right? It's a celestial body that we are it, and then we just zoom or whatever we do. We zap to this galaxy or that galaxy, and we meet up with other bodies and merge and copulate, and I don't know.
Wow, no, cool shit.
We must have a high tolerance for chaos. Learn to embrace the flow.
Forgive all that we can't forget. Regret nothing we can't let go. For despite what we have learned, infinitely more we do not know.
So let us tune our frequencies
until new vibrations grow. Let's pretend that it never ends.
And now, it's time to start the show.
You're gonna be famous.
Hello!
You're gonna be a star.
Yes.
All 6 people that listen to this thing are going to...
It's more than 6.
I know how we're gonna start though,
okay.
Because we can't use your real name.
Okay.
So let's come up with a pseudonym. We need a name. Is there a name you've always wanted?
No. Why'd you put the pressure on?
What am I going to refer to you as in this podcast and on the website and all that stuff? Zelda?
Zelda works. Let's come up with the first and last name.
Yeah, it has to be first and last name, exactly. Now, should the last name be a Z?
Uh-huh.
Just for anybody that...
knows me.
Okay. So how should we... What's the name gonna be? How about Stella as the first name?
Okay, so no Jay-Z then.
Stella is something. Oh, you mean keeping both initials?
Yeah, but we could change the initial.
Yeah, change the initial.
Okay.
We'll keep the last initial the same. For the first name, what's a good first name? What's a name you've always wanted?
Wow, this is a tougher question than I imagined.
What's your middle name?
Magdi.
What
Dad's first name. So Egyptian culture, you take your dad's first name as your middle name.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we can't use that.
So there are like Sarah, Joseph risks.
Right. Why do you take your dad's first name?
I don't know. Because the patriarchal society, and it's like, yeah.
Well, that's what I wanted to start with.
Okay.
And then
So Magdi.
All right, Maggie. And then we need a Z last name.
Well, then it would be my dad's first name. Well, no, Magdi. Okay, yes, we're making up a last name.
You have to make up a last name so nobody can... That's the whole point of this. It's Sunday, folks.
I hurt myself.
Zapparello.
Alright, made me Italian. Cool. I sound like an
Egyptian
Italian. Yeah. Zapparello.
Zapparello.
I like it.
Alright, well, it's a working title.
Exactly.
A working name. Okay.
We'll come up with it at the end.
So, okay.
Oh boy.
Alright, before we even get to that stuff, let's start easy. What was your first impression of me? Like, because you sort of approached me first.
Well, I had to. We were working together.
No, but even before that. So I'll tell. All right. So I would come down to the cafeteria, okay,
yes.
And I see this new girl with this curly hair. She's dressed better than most of the teachers, and she's like putting out this enthusiastic energy. I'm like, who is this person? And I would see you at the tables, and you would wave to me and smile at me.
Well, yeah.
Like we knew each other, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I don't know who you are, and I wasn't polite and go up and be like, hi, my name is so-and-so, who are you?
What was our first interaction?
I don't actually know. I'm pretty sure it was in the cafeteria. But the first time I remember you acknowledging me as...
That's right, because I covered for her before I took over the position. Okay, so that's how
That's when I realized, I have to actually talk to this girl and see who she is.
See, you thought I was crazy just like everyone else.
I have to admit. But see, that's why you don't judge a book by its cover, and you give everybody the benefit of the doubt, and you understand that your prejudgments could be completely and totally wrong, and usually are.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're awesome. So let's just skip to that part, like you're awesome. But so then what was...
It was probably like knowing that I was going to take over that position, so I was like, okay, I need to interact with this guy. And everyone kind of is intimidated by you at work.
Wait, okay, that's what I'm getting at.
Yes.
I want to know, here's what I really want to know. I want to know what everybody else thinks of me. What did you hear before you actually knew who I was?
I think everyone thinks you're pretty... Well, first of all, keep in mind I was in kindergarten, so there's they say you start behaving like the students you teach.
It's very true.
I think you're the one who told me that when I was telling you about all the drama downstairs, and so that was it. And then so I never had no one really talked about you because no students had you. I didn't have a rapport with the older students yet. Mm-hmm. And the teachers, I mean, you really did you interact? So everyone, I didn't really get to know you or talk about you to other staff members until I started working with you. And at that point, I don't know if it's because I admired you in a sense that I would talk you up initially, and then people would say, yeah, Mr. D's cool. Even though some people, but his face... Sometimes I think you're in the zone, so people feed off that energy.
Don't fucking sugarcoat this, okay? I want to hear
no one talks crap, so don't get me twisted. But I think they know that you're like no nonsense. Don't waste my time. Don't talk to me. I'm like A to B. Don't cross my path. So. Yeah, I guess you are a bit of a dick at work.
I don't...
when I noticed you were a dick at work?
Oh, God.
When you talked to the maintenance guy.
That was pretty... Listen.
Why would you do that? You throw out my garbage bin. And I was like, okay, this is getting personal.
Come on.
I get it.
You're right, like that. But that was one moment. I've been there for 9 years. Like, I have not reached a point like that. I can maybe count on one hand.
The guy
where
just
I was
started
like
working.
I don't care. Because it had my name on it.
First
like, I didn't see your name on it. I'm like, the lid is still there with my name on it. Right? I don't know. You're right. I definitely crossed the professional line that day with that guy.
I think, but you knew it after. You walked out and you were like, was it bad? And I said, a little bit. It was a little bad.
Yeah, I definitely, agreed.
That's right.
I'm glad you brought that up because, but for the record, I'm not like that all the time.
No, but the staff members know you as that guy. Now this guy has only been there a few months and that was the first interaction with Mr. D, so...
No, I had talked to him before. We were cool with each other. But that just really pissed me off. Like, I don't like when people take things that belong to me without telling me. I mean, but I guess he apparently didn't know that the trash bucket belonged to me.
Yeah. And he didn't know the value it had to you. That's what you have to remember. Is like
the value is stupid. It's just
no,
a
it's not.
sentimental value.
That is not stupid. That's why it meant so much to you, and you flipped out on the guy. If it was just any old bin, you probably wouldn't have. You didn't flip out. Let's just clarify that. You didn't flip out because now I'm making you sound like
I did like raise my voice a little bit. There were not tons of people around.
No.
Like, I wasn't making a scene.
No, you were in the stairwell. Yes.
But I needed an explanation of what. First of all, why would you throw away a perfectly good
beautiful.
Giant garbage can
And replace them with
these small pieces of shit rectangular? Like you, I can't. And that day, I just couldn't. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but generally, people are intimidated by me.
Yeah, I think once they know you, the people who do know you aren't.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
Did you know that person, this room?
X and Y.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I like to think that I'm always willing to help people out. Like when people have asked me for help, I'll go and
yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Well, you're my mentor, so it doesn't...
Yeah, but am I a good mentor to you?
Of course you are.
Because you go to cop a lot instead of
Well, because he's up there.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Right.
And he's done the curriculum. Are you jealous of I always question that. Like,
no.
Oh my goodness.
No, not at all. No.
But you have your...
I have my own
Yeah,
to deal
exactly.
with. Right. And I know that he's wonderful.
Yeah.
Like, I would go to him,
Yeah, and you guys are close, so I feel like it's not cheating. I'm not cheating on my mentor.
No, we use all the resources available to us.
And I'm a first-year teacher, so I need everyone's resources. I'm like a sponge right now.
Right. Okay, so in summary, at work, I am perceived as an intimidating dick, and you are perceived as like some crazy psycho.
Crazy, bubbly, insane. Yeah, it's fucked up.
Yeah, but we keep it real. That's what's important.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in a sense, it's like, is it really keeping it real? Because at the end of the day...
None of it's real?
Yeah. Like the everywhere we are, everything, take out where, take out when, the video.
That's how every it gets.
Yes, it's every.
It's everywhere. It's every.
No, but seriously, like someone was telling me, you're always so happy. And it's like, you ever feel like on the inside you're not really happy. So you question yourself, like, yeah, okay, I am bubbly, I'm happy, I'm charismatic, but deep down inside, am I truly that? Because I am depressed and I do have anxiety and I do have issues where you feel like, is it a front that you're putting on and playing and manipulating your own mind to actually perceive yourself as happy, but in reality you're just...
Well, that's something you have to answer for yourself, but I would say there are some people that do that, right? But
it's like mindful manipulation.
Well, yeah, but really, you aren't that one thing all the time. You're constantly in flux. Your emotions are constantly in flux.
Yeah.
So you may be generally depressed, maybe because of like what's going on in your life or whatever.
Yeah.
But when you're there at work and you are in that moment, say, happy, well, the only thing that matters is the moment.
Yeah.
So you can't say, well, I'm putting on a false front trying to be happy. No, I'm genuinely feeling this at this moment.
Yeah.
Right? There is that other side of me that's waiting for when I
That's
go home.
true. Yeah.
But like moment to moment,
that's all we're living
that's all you are. So if you're pissed off in that moment, then I'm a pissed off person. Or if you're depressed in that moment, it's your
reaction though that defines your character and your personality. Yeah. So
it's a trap to say, "Oh, I'm depressed," because then you think you're saying I'm that way all the time.
Yeah.
But maybe people are, I guess. But do you really go through your entire day if you're suffering a depression, say? I mean, I'm talking about not like clinical depression.
Yeah.
Do you really go through your entire day that way?
No, but the anxiety is there.
Sure.
Throughout the day.
Yeah.
Because even going through in the moment, that's what's really...
The shadows there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's letting that Go on. Next topic.
See, it was pretty intense, right? Already. Well, okay. You were born in Egypt?
Kuwait.
Okay. Kuwait. Tell me about that.
Apparently, what war was going on in '86 in Kuwait?
Nothing that I know of.
Something was going on because my mom was like, you were born underground in a hospital underground. There was like bombs going off up top.
Whoa.
Unless my mother's like out of her, well, she is out of her mind, but
we'll keep talking.
So yeah, 86.
Kuwait 86.
It was the end of a war or something. So yeah, so was born there. Dad was outsourced. I don't know what he was doing. He was teaching out there. And then mom went, popped me out, and then I went back to Egypt and they got the lottery to come to America.
What age were you when you came to America?
I was a baby. I was like 7 months. 7 months.
I don't see anything for...
Well, maybe it was just...
events in years...
Maybe it was just... fireworks.
Well, when Saddam, he invaded in what, 91? That was the whole Persian Gulf thing.
Yeah.
But you're saying it was something that was not related to, like, the United States wasn't
maybe,
involved.
Probably not.
Okay.
Yeah, 86.
This is a quick side note. Do you know I once had a serious offer to go teach in Kuwait?
Kuwait's actually really beautiful.
That's what I heard. Yeah. I'd be riding a moped through the streets every morning.
Getting paid really, really well.
Yeah. Oh, well. So much for that dream.
Yeah, right? Well, everyone thinks I'm a Kuwaiti citizen. You know, they get, like, their wedding paid for, the girls.
Really?
Yeah. But no, unfortunately, it's not the same laws. So you have to, I guess your father has to be Kuwaiti because they do outsource a lot. So they know that a lot of immigrants come in for work.
So both your parents are Egyptian?
Yep.
And so he was teaching in Kuwait. I'm just trying to because I was looking things
He's in teaching in Kuwait, and then mom was a homemaker and had my sister at the time, and then had me, and then we came here.
Why did you come here?
I guess better opportunity for
That's
us.
The answer
Yeah, right.
It's
the American dream, you know. So, yeah, Dad started working as a taxi. Typical Arab story. Started working as a taxi driver, and then that was that. Went to school. I was actually very different in school. I was so quiet. I was like an introvert. Yeah. This didn't come out until college.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The whole time through school.
So yeah, I was bullied. Wasn't nice.
How were you bullied?
Just like stupid things that still like live in your mind. Like I went to a privileged white school in Staten Island because we lived in Staten Island. Mm-hmm. So I was the minority, and you know, Egyptian. No one knows back then. Everyone's like, what? Never met an Egyptian person. So I was like, I thought I'd be the cool kid.
Yeah,
you know?
think so.
No, that doesn't happen till later on when people start appreciating cultural diffusion.
Right.
But back then it was just, who is this immigrant, I guess? Wow. And the language barrier. English wasn't my first language, so my English wasn't strong. And I'd always have like, you know, you doubt yourself when you're speaking to people about just simple...
But wait, so you came over when you were a baby?
Yeah, but Arabic was spoken at home.
At home, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then you went to school, and that's like, now I'm going to learn English.
And TV helped me, and my sister, because she had it bad. She came, she was older, so she went in no English. And
did you like school?
I did. I was a nerd. I was a dweeb, and I was had no friends really because they were strict when we first got here. So no going out, no sleepovers, no parties. And then my sister rebelled. It's good to have an older sibling because they like paved the way for you. Sure. So you take all the shit, but she took a lot of shit. She took a lot of beat downs and it was just cultural ignorance. My parents brought us over here and thought that we would still be Egyptian, but you can't do that.
Yeah, you have to assimilate.
Yeah, there was none of that. Well, now there is. So, but it took a lot of I guess wake up calls on their part. And yeah.
Is that common?
No, the parents don't even. My parents they're not the norm. So even other Egyptian people will be like, wow, your parents are so cool. They're so different, you know? I mean, I smoked pot with my mom, But it's that I guess they realized they needed to be more friends so they can know what we were doing, just in case we were ever in trouble, that we could get.
Yeah, so that's smart.
It is smart. It is smart. So most Egyptian parents aren't smart, or they don't want to deviate from their cultural norms.
That's an interesting parallel you just mentioned, because my mom and my parents were perceived as the cool ones too. Kids couldn't believe how open we were and how honest we were. Or that, you know, you smoke pot with your mom, like, that's crazy, I could never even tell her. And some of them are like 40 years old now and they still can't tell their parents. That's mind-boggling to me. But
people are closed-minded, and that closed-mindedness doesn't go away for most people. And obviously if they didn't change, we would have survived, but they wouldn't know half they saved our asses numerous times. Right. And it was because we were able to say, hey,
I'm just checking.
Smoking weed, Mom. Daddy's gonna kick my ass if my eyes are this red, and then she'll be like, "Go to sleep right now," like before he comes home.
That's cool.
It was
for each other. All right.
Yeah,
okay.
That's it.
And now you're taking care of them, right?
And now, So, Dad's pretty. He's a rock star. I'm Daddy's little girl all the way, but Mom's pretty. She got fibromyalgia when she was in her mid to late 30s. So. What is she now? So for my whole life, pretty much, she's been ill, and it's just consumed us. Yeah. Like, just Mom's illness and conditions and surgeries, and it's like normal now. But it's depressing.
Right.
And it's starting to get like really depressing, because you realize as you get older, you don't have control over their actions. So you could only hold yourself responsible to a certain degree, and now it's guilt. It all boils down to like the guilt. Am I being a horrible daughter for thinking this way? Guilt is the worst feeling.
It is.
Because it eats you up, and it makes you feel like the worst person in the world, and you could be a great human being, but no matter what you do, it's never good enough.
Yeah, welcome to my world.
Yeah.
Because I feel that way all the time. Either not good enough, or I'm not doing enough. All the time.
So how do we get over that?
I don't know. Psychedelics.
Acceptance. Yeah. Smoke some weed.
But apparently that hasn't worked either in the long term. But
well, we're in the moment. Remember,
right now we're in the moment. Yeah. No, I mean it's just realizing that you're just one human being, and people. You can't save everybody. You can't do everything. You just gotta take
but
one
family, the family unit. It's the family unit. It's the most important.
See, I have a lot of guilt about that, because there was this sort of split in our family because of my brother years ago, and my mom just, like, basically the whole family got together, the extended family, and pressed charges against my brother. And so my mom, and
was it an intervention type press charges, or was it a malicious, I'm going to get you?
I think it was, I don't know. In the end, that's a good question, but I don't think that they had his best interest in mind, no.
Well...
But they did, but at the same time, it was a wake-up call, and it was needed, because he was out of control, and she was, like, not realizing it, so, or whatever, not facing it. But enabling. And thank you.
That's what parents do.
Right. So, her reaction to that, to everybody ganging up, was screw the family. And I sort of just went along with it, just because I'm dealing with all this shit.
And you don't want to have to deal with her for...
Yeah, but now I don't talk to anybody. You know, I went to my cousin's second wedding and reconnected with him a little bit, but like my Uncle Dennis, my Aunt Debbie, people down my hometown, I haven't seen them, you know. I haven't talked to them. My nephews. Yeah. That kind of thing. That makes you feel guilty. Because they say family is extremely important.
But at the end of the day, you could build family. You're building a family. You're building a family. You know, I'm hopefully going to build a family. Your friends eventually become...
Exactly.
So...
And I have friends that are family, closer. So it's not about blood then, right?
It's not. but it's instilled in our minds... Since that, I mean, these are the first people you encounter. These are the people that provide for you your basic fundamental needs as a human being. So, I mean, and then, not all parents are, I'm assuming we were fed, we went to school. Some parents are assholes, straight up.
Sure.
So
you want to get away from them as soon as possible, right?
Yeah.
And find a good family. I see what you're
whereas saying. We have more, we're more apt to feeling guilty because they did provide for us and they did do all that. Whereas, so can't just be like, well, they're a bunch of assholes, so fuck them.
Yeah, no.
That'll be easy.
Of course it would. No, you have to have a good goddamn
reason. Jesus. Why?
Well, it's just like any relationship, right? I mean, at a certain point, as we go through our lives, some relationships no longer serve us.
Yeah.
And it's not that person's fault. It's not necessarily our fault. It's just that you outgrow people.
Yeah.
And the same thing can happen with family. Adhering to, I have to stay close to my family, if they're full of drama and fucked up and they're pulling you into it, it's just going to suck your energy and it's not worth it.
Yeah, well, that's why my mom is luckily I'm not, I mean, I could deflect energies where I don't absorb people's energies. Someone like my sister, where she's very much, she absorbs everyone's energy. So if you're having a bad day, she's having a bad day just from that, even if it's just brief contact.
Yeah.
So these two women are in the house, majorly depressed, and just feeding off of each other's depression, and each one is feeding off of each other's guilt.
Yeah.
So it's just get over it already. Face your fucking fears.
But I mean, the older you get, the harder it is to do that, right? To be aware of that, even.
No, but I would think it's the opposite. The older that you get, the more you should be able to.
You would think that, but what I see generally is evidence to the contrary for so many people.
Yeah. Because
they just get locked into their patterns.
That's true.
Again, psychedelics help for this. This is why older people especially should be the ones having that kind of experience.
And even with the Alzheimer's, dementia.
Yeah.
I mean, these drugs were first made to treat neurological conditions.
Right, exactly.
So, hello.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I told my mom numerous times, stop with the pills, let's smoke some pot.
Mm-hmm.
So we did it a few times when I was maybe 16, 17. And she would say to me, roll one for me, roll me a cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd roll it for her and leave it in the drawer. She'd take a couple pulls, put it out, and she said it helped her with the pain. But now she's popping pills, and just the self-medication is not, she's just not right. She's not regulating her pills, but she's, it's sad.
And again, pills, the pharmaceutical stuff, once
hardcore.
You're in it, and yeah.
So.
Okay.
Even though I like to take them occasionally. So stop talking shit. So I will raid her medicine cabinet on a bad day.
No comment. Well, I'm just glad my mom lives all the way down in Florida.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Now, pills they're a nasty one, but okay. So we were at school, right?
Yes.
And then you said that all this. So high school was pretty much the same, still quiet.
So no, high school. So lost my virginity pretty early, and I guess it's gonna get deep now.
That's what she said.
Yeah, we're gonna get in there.
All right.
We changed my name, right?
My
voice is very unique, but luckily no one else. But probably one or two of the 6 people know me on this, but it's alright.
Maggie, what was the first name?
Maggie
Zapparello. We gotta change the last name. We gotta find a better last name, but okay. So I believe the last name you said.
So I lost my virginity very early.
Mm-hmm.
It was 12.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was with how old? 12. He was about 17, going on 18. So it was a pretty statutory rapish.
I've heard the story many times, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I think part of the reason I guess I hate saying it.
Say it.
I guess I was sexually abused. And I don't want to say it because I feel like such a victim saying it, but I wasn't I wasn't raped, I wasn't molested. I just was exposed to my grandfather wanking off to porn at the age of 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
I mean, you shouldn't be exposed to that anyway.
Not. Right.
And I never thought of it as sexual abuse. So my sister got the shit end of the stick, and she actually was. I still, till this day, we haven't had a conversation as to what happened. It's just always been the unspoken. Yeah, it's scary, right? Because we've talked about it, but we've never talked about it.
Do you think did it create imprints that have affected you the rest of your life?
Yes.
Wow.
So, for example, we were talking about one of the students at lunch hugs me, and I said I'm very uncomfortable with that. Yeah. And even when I was working with kindergarten, the kids are so like huggy, lovey-dovey, and it's normal. But for me, I don't want to ever make a child feel that way. And sometimes you don't know how you're making a child feel. Like, that uncomfortable, like, yes. Oh my God, like, cringing stomach.
Sure,
like,
you don't want to feel that.
I felt that as a child. And I bet you have, without realizing it in certain, maybe not. That just, even if it's nothing, even if it's innocent, but that feeling of like, this is not going good.
Yes.
And even as a young child, you understand that something's dirty or something feels not right. Mm-hmm. So I don't ever want to put that on any child, like even accidentally. And it is a stigma of feeling like it's hereditary, that shit. Mm-hmm. So if this is a disease and it was so like close to our genetic code, who's to say my kids might not develop it or I might not? That's a fear. Okay. It's a fear. I know I'm not ever going to.
No.
But it's a fear of how it's perceived by someone.
Right.
So yeah, I'm paranoid about touching people or holding people or hugging, or like I'm not a very touchy-feely person. So even when it comes down to sex, it's like in and out, get it done, let's do it. And it's only just recently that I'm starting to be, and I think that's more of a cultural, Coptic, Christian guilt, church, shame, like that's instilled in your mind. It? Yeah. It's like I told you, my mom's circumcised, all her sisters are circumcised. Like it's just a sick, like women can't enjoy that.
They don't still do that, do they?
In some places
I know some places, like, but not in.
I mean, supposedly my grandma, like my mom's generation, a lot of people are not.
Okay.
But unfortunately, she was from the south of Egypt, so it's like America, South, good old South.
Yeah, okay, all right.
It's just a little slower and more.
It's just anywhere that's the South.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
So even if you're like up in Canada, if you're in South Canada, you're fucked because So okay.
Where were we going with this? Yeah. Oh, so I lost my so. High school, I guess I started to be one of the cool girls because you're fast and you're not a virgin.
A hot commodity.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was ghetto as hell, which is alright. Whatever. My little... Oh, do you know I was on True Life?
What was True Life?
True Life was the reality show, one of the first reality shows by MTV. Yeah, it was, I'm a high school senior. True Life, I'm a whatever, cross-dresser. True Life, I'm a... Okay, so it's True Life, I'm a high school senior, and they came to our high school, and they picked, like, a couple of seniors, and one of them was my best friend at the time. Won't say her name.
Okay.
And then, yeah, I was on there just, like...
So I could conceivably get on YouTube and find this.
Probably. And
I'm writing it down because I don't want to interrupt the conversation with you.
My girlfriend was telling me the other day, she's like, I knew you. I watched that episode before I even met you.
Oh my!
From college, yeah. So do high school graduating high school. Whatever. Are we really doing this? I'm so embarrassed by this, and I don't even.
I will go back and scour them. Just to
That's
find
what you're
it.
saying. You should show it to your kids because it's like. Yeah, right.
That would blow their minds.
I know. They would think I'm the coolest person on earth.
Or not. Who knows? You never know how it's going to go with that stuff.
Jeez. Yeah. So I had like my baby fat jacket, my earrings with my name on it, and the necklace with the chain with my name on it. Yeah, good old Bayonne. That was it. And then went to college and disconnected with a lot of people from high school, and just people in Bayonne tend to stay in Bayonne.
Mm-hmm.
So when the people left, that's it.
Where'd you go to college?
Rutgers, New Brunswick, state
There
university where everyone goes. So yeah, it was fun, good old times, and that's it.
And that was like those were the party years.
Those were the first weekend. Became a pothead, and then ever since then, I wouldn't say I'm a pothead anymore, but yeah, it was that. After that, I was smoking every day.
Sure. Right.
So, switched majors, got through, graduated, thank God.
What was the first major?
I switched from like business to communications to psychology to exercise science and Middle Eastern studies.
And that's what you ended up with a degree in?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
And then I was trying to be a physical therapist. That didn't work. My chemistry grades because I was smoking weed throughout college and not caring about going to class, but yeah, that's how I got into. Even though, like, when I was younger, my dad was a teacher, so he would always push me to like become a teacher. But I was more motivated by making money. So in college, I was like, "Oh, come on, teachers, it's a joke." So I thought I was motivated by money.
Right.
Then,
real quick, what did he teach?
Math, high school math.
All right.
So, and over there you could like hit the kids, and but he never did. He was like, I was always the coolest teacher. Like, I never had to hit them. They loved coming to my class.
Okay, that's awesome.
And he was like, he would tell me, it doesn't mean just because you know the stuff doesn't mean you're a good teacher. Because he'd go, he used to tell me, he tells me the funniest stories. You should do one with my dad. If only you spoke Arabic.
Yeah.
But even his English is hysterical. So, but he would tell me stories about his like mentor and how he was like so strict and he'd beat the kids, and he was like, he would teach me the lesson and how to teach it, but then I would just teach it, and the kids would come from his class and be like, Mr. Zapparello. I've caught myself. Mr. Zapparello, can you teach us? We don't get it from him. And the guy would be sitting there looking at him like, I just fucking taught you this shit 20 minutes ago, and now they're asking.
We don't learn from you because of how
that's it. So
that's
he'd always tell me. So he's happy. He was so happy once I told him that's what I wanted to do.
But that was very recently,
yeah.
Right?
So I what I'm trying to say is I guess I always knew that's the path I would have taken, because even as a kid I would like save all my workbooks from like kindergarten, first grade, hoarding, and then I'd line up my stuffed animals. Again, I had no friends, we weren't allowed out, and then I'd have my chalkboard and I would teach them whatever I learned in school that day.
Oh, that's
so it's cute. Yeah, I remember that. That's one of my good childhood memories. And then my stuffed animals, that were my friends.
And you don't have them anymore?
No.
You got rid of them?
Yeah, well, we downsized. We lost the American dream, gambling, and not me, Mr. Zapparello. Shame. So, yeah.
All right.
And then, what happened? I didn't get into PT school, so I worked in the gyms, fitness. What are you going to do? Exercise science. So, was making good money as a manager for a New York sports club. I started out at a little mom and pop joint, and then moved up. And then I realized early I'm not the manager. Like, I don't want any supervising positions, manager, nothing. Just let me. Too nice. We'll push over.
Yeah,
so even though I'm a good leader, people say you have those qualities that make you a great leader. I know I'm not.
Same thing.
Accept it.
Same thing. I don't want it. I've learned little mini lessons. Speaking of mini lessons, little mini lessons in life that are like, you have these leadership qualities at certain times, but not.
Yeah. So
and I couldn't be a administrator or a principal. Or
maybe you could though. See, I see it in you, and I'm saying the same thing.
Because I'm intimidating dick.
Yeah, right. No nonsense.
No nonsense. Right. Well, my grandfather was he was a 5th grade teacher. And then he became director of special ed. And the way my parents tell it, and my mom worked for the same school system that he was in, everybody adored him.
Yeah.
So.
And you do want to make a change, like.
I just want to change myself.
Yeah, but you're teaching in a way that
Oh, you mean change in the kids and all that stuff? Yeah, but if you're an administrator, you can't do that.
But you're changing it from the top. Like, that's even better for the teachers.
I don't know if I buy into that because the system is so
well, I don't know. I'm a first-year teacher, so green and naive, like, oh!
the further up you go, the more tightly locked the system is, and you know.
Yeah.
I don't like it. It needs such drastic change that the only way to really do any real change is at the classroom level.
Yeah.
I really believe that. You know? But anyway, so I got us off.
Yeah, I know. We've been going off since how long have we been?
I don't know. Check the time.
It's 39 minutes. I just like, oh.
The spike
They're gonna rewind it.
Yeah. Like, oh, there's the 40-minute mark where the spike goes all the way up.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah. What the heck? Yeah, I didn't get in. Found out I wasn't motivated by money, which was good because it was like the first thing in your like professional career as an adult. You're finding out what you like. Mm-hmm. That's why people have been doing the same thing for like 30, 40 years. I mean, I admire them, but it's like, didn't you get bored or didn't you?
Well, yeah.
See, I've done so many things, which isn't good either because you haven't specialized.
No, that is good. It is good because now you're settling into this.
Yeah.
And you won't, I guess for you don't have this
like
question.
22-year-olds, 24-year-olds. Like when you say first-year teacher, you don't think of a 32-year-old.
Sure. Yeah. No, I've been doing this since I was 22, you know? And I don't know how much longer before because there's some years or there's some weeks where you're like, fuck this. I'm done. You know.
Did you feel that in your first year?
No, because I used to put out way more, you know, energy and enthusiasm. I was way more idealistic.
Yeah, but some days I feel like that.
I feel like that sometimes too, but...
Does that mean by year 5 I'm going to be like...
No, as long as you concentrate on what's important. And the only thing that's important is that block of time that you are interfacing with those children. That's it.
Okay.
I mean, that sounds a little extreme.
No, but you're right, in the moment.
But like all the other stuff, the grades, the IPT, well, not the IPTs, you have to modify instruction. But even the curriculum itself is not important because look from, you're teaching my kids from last year, right? And I worked hard.
I know.
I believe that I did.
And
to teach them these concepts, and some of them have already forgotten that shit.
Yeah, but you are in one of my bad sections. If you go to like
I hear the one
my
the class
6As and 6Cs, you'll enjoy it more because you're like, thank God. Those are the kids that are like, Mr. D taught us that.
Okay.
Oh, Mr. D brought that up. Like when I wrote defecate. Yeah, this is Mr. D, by the way. I write feces, defecation, bowel movement, and I don't remember waste, okay, on the board.
Urine.
Yeah, and the kids immediately saw defecation and they were like, "Oh, Mr. D taught us that word." And I'm like, then why are you still using poop? Stop using poop.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it was funny that those 4 words were associated with you.
That's great. I love it. It's hilarious.
But yeah, so I found out early I wasn't motivated by money. Back to whatever. I hope whoever's listening can follow this because we're just
perfect.
jumping.
Yeah, it's fine. It's a real conversation. So.
Then what did I do? So I obviously have multiple personalities up in there. We took ourselves and went to Australia.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. I didn't get into PT school, so I was mad depressed.
How old were you at this point? When you went to
I
Australia?
hate ages and dates.
Roughly.
It was 2013. How old am I now? I'm 32. It's 2000.
Okay, that's fine.
So I was like 27-ish? 26?
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah. But 2013 is not a long time ago.
Yeah.
For some reason I was thinking you went earlier.
Well, yeah, no, I spent... So I was working in the rehab field, trying to get into school, and once I didn't get in, I was depressed, blah, blah, blah. I met a therapist because I worked in subacute rehab, which is nursing home / worst place ever. All of them are the worst place ever. That's why my mom is paranoid. Nursing home, don't put me in nursing home. I don't blame her. So I met a therapist there who was Australian, And we started dating, and then we got engaged, and I took it as an opportunity in between figuring myself out. His sister was getting married. He had a few things to go to over there, so we said we might as well stay for the year. So I took a work and holiday visa, and I stayed for a year, but we broke up like 2 weeks after I got there.
That must have actually... I could imagine
well,
that.
Well, I feel like he was just the catalyst to like give me a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Yeah. It's as selfish and fucked up as it sounds, because we spent like almost 2 years together.
Right.
It's like, okay, thanks, made it down under.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, but then at that point, you're free to like let me.
No, but I was stuck ass. Like I had no. I mean, I was working as a waitress, no money, no like. I was using his dad's car, so yeah, I had to do it on my own, and that's when I realized how strong I was as a person, because I never would have imagined. I mean, it could have been easy just to call my parents, like, save me.
Yeah, sure.
I need to come home. But I didn't, and I was working for his aunt at the time at an auction house. Loved it. One of my favorite jobs. Photography and, like, website and just putting all the antiques and artifacts. It was so beautiful. And paintings, and I learned a lot. And, I was a little nervous. They weren't going to keep me on. But everyone loves me. So this little rape, sunshine. So even
you have, you know who our commander-in-chief wrapped around.
No, I don't.
He loves you.
He loves you. Good, and I need to have a mole wrapped around my finger. But then that's another thing. Like, is that coming out naturally, or am I an opportunist? Like,
again, that's a question only you can answer for yourself.
Yeah, but. Yeah, I guess it's based on intent, and if your intentions are...
Yeah, if your intentions are pure and you're being honest...
It's guilt. It's guilt. It's even questioning that you're a good person, because it's like,
You're a good person. You're a good person. I'd say that objectively, you know. You're a good person. If you would probably be aware if you were using it. You know,
you're right.
It's like the light side and the dark. I'm going to use the dark side of the force right now on this person.
Sometimes you have to, though.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was it. I got there, and, Mr. D, I want to go back so bad. And that's where I first got exposed to meditating. And I guess because it's so close to the East, that they're very much influenced by Eastern.
What was your first experience with that?
It was his mother.
Okay.
So she would see that we were fighting a lot, and she was like, you need to meditate. And she would take me in, and she'd just do her meditation, and I would just sit in. I didn't know what I was doing. I couldn't even hold a meditation for 2 or 3 minutes.
But when in Rome.
But so...
Or when in Australia.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It's a beautiful country. A little racist. Everyone's racist against Americans, I guess, but...
You mean everybody in the world, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah. But you would think like a Western, country wouldn't be, but they're... And I am a lot to handle. Like, you either love me or hate me, so there's no in between. I am off the charts. Right. So it takes a specific kind of person. And Americans we're more open.
That's true.
So other cultures are not.
Yeah.
And I think it took a lot. So I was really depressed out there because I was by myself. I had to make new friends. And,
but it was kind of, it sounds like it's what you need. It's what
I
you
needed, yeah.
You needed it. It was that time.
And I persevered, and I busted my ass, and I worked as a waitress and at the auction. Like, I was busting my ass to survive.
But your visa was only for a year?
Yeah.
And so then it was like, then I have to go.
So they tried to sponsor me to keep me on board, but they were like, why would we give her that job if 1,000 Australians would love for that job? So if I would have applied to work on a farm with the pigs... And that would have been different.
Did you want to stay?
Yeah.
You really did?
I still want to go back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just it's such a different, like the anxiety that we have with like the rat race. And I get it. Like it might be just the tri-state area that has that. Because if the further south you go, the more relaxed it is. But over there, it's like relaxation is first.
Yeah.
Like holiday, everyone's on holiday, it's like, okay, go to work, people, or just nonchalance. Like, I remember I was waiting for coffee until, like, in the beginning, and I'm like, it's like taking them 20 minutes to to make me a coffee. But they're making me a coffee. Like, these are making me a coffee. Zapparello, America, give me my coffee, my instant coffee. Right. These people, they're grinding it and baristas and...
You're getting the real shit.
Yeah, and you taste the real shit.
Yes, and the energy is in it.
And people don't care. Like, my boss used to always tell me, relax. Go make us a cup of coffee and tea.
See?
Yeah, tea.
That sounds, no pun intended, that sounds completely foreign to me, given where we live.
And it was, because even and that's what they loved me, because I would get work done quickly, and they were like, Americans work like dogs.
Yeah.
So, other cultures have that idea of us, whereas before it was like, the streets of America are paved in gold, and everyone's coming out here, and it's like the Clinton era.
Luxuries. Yeah.
So they don't realize, but the anxiety, like, our holidays suck, our vacations suck, like, we are losing sight. Like you said, we're wage slaves.
And it affects our health, our mental health, our physical health. We don't have proper medical care.
Nope.
We could go on and on about what's wrong.
I feel like mental is where it starts.
Mental
I feel like everything physical is manifested from your brain.
Absolutely. So. Or even, let's not even say it's a mental crisis. There's a spiritual crisis. Perhaps.
Yeah.
See, you use that word and then people get all...
Well, it's because,
There's so many different things attached to the word spiritual. What do you say? But I guess you could say to somebody that's like a strict, atheist.
Yeah.
It's a mental health issue.
Yeah.
But it is a spiritual health issue.
Yeah, because it's that connection. That I feel like the spirit is the connector of I know it's opposite, like your physical body and then your spiritual body, but the spirit I feel like is the in between, like I guess the levels of Freud, whatever
the bridge between the physical and the non-physical.
It is.
Wait, what are you
is
asking
the spiritual? Me? Well, I'm at
Listen,
it doesn't make sense.
I don't know anything.
Yeah,
I don't even know if the physical is even real, if the spiritual side. Yeah, let's not get too deep in.
Smoke a little more.
Yeah, you know what? That's actually a good idea because I do have to piss.
Okay.
And
have a cigarette.
Yeah, and we'll pause it there.
And we're almost at an hour.
See how fast it goes?
Yeah, and it feels good. I mean, I'm not sweating as much,
but just for the record, I would say, based on everything that I fucking don't know, because I don't know anything, but the physical is not real.
Yeah.
The consciousness, the spiritual, like that's what it is really at. Like the physical is just a way for consciousness and spirit to manifest itself or play its fucking game or do what it has to do. It's very dualistic.
Yeah. Go pee. Pause.
Yeah, so anyway. We went outside, we took a break, and we ended up talking some good shit that should be on this podcast. So let's just go a little quick detour, because you mentioned something interesting about the students and everything being racist. What is that? Explain what that's about.
So, we work in an urban school, so I guess the kids, I don't know if it's their parents or what they're seeing in media, but it's like Black Lives Matter, everything is racist now, and one of my students was talking about the locker being racist because his lock was black. and it wouldn't open, so the locker's racist. And if you ask them to get a black marker, you're racist. And so it was, we started talking about racism and how now everything is linked to racism. And I was just telling the kids not to manifest that, because the further they bring it up and associate it with things that aren't even racist, the more you're making it a reality.
Yes, absolutely.
So just explaining that, and every time I hear it in the hallway, I'm like, come on, guys, like, get over it, but it's like, this is not racism. Like, learn what it is, differentiate between stereotyping, racism, prejudice. Like, you have to understand these basic linguistics, these words, before you start spitting them out and thinking that things are racist. And they're young. They're just now
So
learning.
you're saying that they're getting it
from where else?
Yeah.
I mean, it's either home or school, and we don't talk about these things at school so much.
And that's when I sort of chimed in and was asking you, because for a while there, the idea was that, well, we're not as racist as we used to be, and that there is equality and diversity.
Oh, yes.
And I'm saying, well, was that the case, and that racism is just on an uptick, or has it always been the same?
It's been the same, and we got on that. It's stagnant.
And there was just that superficial veneer of everything's fine when it really is not, and now it's coming to the surface.
And it's the political correctness that everyone is worried about, and that in itself is okay. So a perfect example, and this one might. I don't know how people are going to react to this, but did you see the ad, H&M ad?
I don't watch commercials.
It was on Facebook, the H&M ad, the little boy, it was a black boy who had on the hoodie.
Okay.
And it said, like, I'm the coolest monkey in the jungle or something.
Oh, shit.
So your face immediately was like, that's racist, right? Your eyebrows went up.
My face was, I can see where people would...
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I personally thought it was just innocent, like how if they H&M we're talking about here, like this, if they put it out there without, I mean, I'm sure this went through numerous people's hands, and it was completely.
It is kind of mind-boggling that somebody didn't catch that.
That's the okay. So then it was crazy, like whatever you call it. Whatever people were like, it just went viral, and African American community was like, look, even the way I'm conversing with you about it, it's like so uncomfortable. Like,
careful,
oh my God, am I saying the right words? Yeah, so I don't be perceived as a racist.
So is it more racist to see that and
that's
not,
what I'm thinking,
and not put it out there?
So I showed it to my girlfriend. She's a white girl from down south Central Jersey. Sorry. Love ya if you're listening.
Yeah, I'm South Jersey.
So she was like, oh my God, that's totally racist when I sent it to her, and I'm like, you really think it is?
If you want to look at it that way, then...
But apparently everyone took it that way, and even like it was so bad they pulled the ad. Then the kid's mother was like, everyone's overreacting. And that's how I felt. Like, it was just, it was like a model. If it was a white kid in a...
It'd be okay. It'd be okay if it was a white kid wearing that hoodie, is what the consensus is.
Would it have been, though? Because then they were talking about the words, like, I'm the coolest monkey in the jungle. And it's like...
That's like evolutionary
That's
history.
what I was going to say.
That's why the joke is funny.
Yeah. So the mother was outraged, too, after, like, they pulled the ad. I'm sure money was not... Whatever. Maybe not. But it was just... It's like, are we now being racist by trying to be overly not racist?
Right. Well, and then that's when I was explaining to you about the social justice warrior stuff going on.
And I had no idea what it was.
So that the far left has gone so far left that they've swung around and are meeting the far right in a way. It's almost like polar, two sides of the same fundamentalist extreme coin. Where, like I was telling you, the professor at whatever college it was, Occidental, I think, and the president, he's giving the speech and he's using hand gestures, and they're telling him, put your hands down because it's a microaggression. Yeah. I mean, I'm just parroting Rogan because I've heard this on this podcast a bunch of times, or Jordan Peterson, who I'm practically in love with now. Canada passed a law of here are these over 70 different types of gender designations, and it's a criminal act if you do not refer to that person by their gender.
Yeah.
It's like, how are you even supposed to know 70 different genders?
I would like to see that list, actually.
And he refuses to do it. He refuses to do it because you can't legislate language.
Yeah.
You know, that's a really bad, slippery slope.
Yeah. And did they come to a solution, or are they still...
I don't, that's a good question. I mean, he's extremely popular now. Like,
well,
on YouTube.
He makes a good point. You can't do that to a society that is made up of different...
Right. That's the irony, is that they're trying to be so respectful of everybody's, I'm this gender, I'm this, I'm that to legislate it is Nazism.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I mean, if you think about it, World War II is not that long ago. Like, no. I know for our kids that we're teaching, it's like ancient times, right. But for us...
We understand that
it was just like yesterday, in evolutionary time, and like
Well, like I told my kids in January, well, it is still January, but I was like, hey, it's 2018. World War I ended 100 years ago.
Crazy. I know.
It's not a long time.
No.
You know.
We're getting old.
Yeah, we are.
And we're not changing.
Like, it still boggles my mind that I'm teaching human beings who were not alive in the 20s. I am their, and their parents, I guess,
and their primary source for
the 20th century. Like, we're explaining the 20th century to them. This is where you came from. This is why things are the way they are now. You have to know what was going on.
Yeah.
Because it's about to get way crazier.
But is it, or is it just the same cycle?
What do you mean?
Like, every great empire falls. These are like cultural and social
that's true, yes,
cycles.
But it seems like with
technology, that's
and
what's
happened
changing.
to the human beings and the way they communicate,
but
cycle...
that's evolutionary. That is, like you were saying.
But it's reached a point now where that cycle the spiral is going off in a direction that we previously have not
attained. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that, like, thousands of years of conquer this, enslave this, build this city, and blah, blah, blah. But now, we're off the map now. Now it's like, who knows what the fuck is going to happen with technology, where we're going to end up. Like I was telling you, with the gender designations, it's ridiculous biologically to say that, well, this person's a furry, so I legally have to recognize them as a furry because psychologically that's what they believe they are. Like, I'll respect them, but don't make it law. However, human beings will probably be able to change physically, biologically, what it means to be a human. And so then the idea of different genders becomes literal, like biological. You might have a sex.
Yeah, but even then, do you think those laws that they're trying to pass now should apply when that happens? Or do you think it's That's
a great question. I don't fucking know.
Because in a sense, now I feel like the more cautious we become about it brings us back to the words that we use and how powerful they could be with the neuro-linguistic
programming.
Yeah. So now, is it the overcautiousness of our words going to
prevent us from...
I don't know what I'm trying to say. I can't articulate it, but damn it, man.
It's okay. No, you're saying. I think what you're trying to say is that look, words are just sounds. They're just fucking vibrations. That's all they are. It's not the word. It's the idea behind the word.
Okay.
But not being allowed to say the word means that you're not addressing the core issue of the idea behind it.
Okay.
And if you get past the core issue behind it, then the word can be uttered and it has no effect. It's like how you couldn't say bitch on television and now you can say bitch.
Like,
what's his name? The famous comedian, Lenny Bruce, right? In the 60s, Lenny Bruce was infamous for using all this foul language on stage. And he was the first one to tell the audiences it's just a word.
Yeah.
I mean, he was hardcore, though. He'd get up there and go, like, how many niggers we got here tonight?
Wow.
Oh, we got a couple of niggers sitting over there. Then he'd go, how many kikes? How many kikes is it? Oh, look at those 2 fucking Jews over there. You know, but his whole point was,
stop
get it out.
Yeah.
Get it out. They're just words. Like, enough is enough.
I told you about the...
and they arrested him.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, okay, so I read this study. Damn, I wish I because I'm talking a lot about it. I was learning about stereotype threat and how the kids, because we work in an urban setting, whatever. I was, again, the paranoia of, I don't want to come out racist. But it was about, like, black men and white men were given the same, like, IQ test. And it was the stereotype threat that's in black men's minds about
I've listened to whole podcasts on that. The guys that have actually run those studies and stuff.
And then they gave them the same test, told them it was like, it's like when I did it to them, I did it to the kids last year. I told them it was a worksheet. Mm-hmm. It was a test. They took this, they failed. They all failed it. And then I gave them the same exact test a couple days later as a worksheet, but I wrote it out by hand and I made copies so it didn't look so like test-like.
Yeah.
And I told them it's just a worksheet and it's for they knew I was in school, so I was like, it's for my alternate route class. It's like a little side study for me, just guys. Just fill it out and do it.
Best.
They all passed the damn worksheet,
That's
which
amazing.
was the same test. And I keep telling them, you're psyching yourselves out because of those words. Test, anxiety, you know, like, same thing. Yeah. So, just... like, we are perpetuating these ideas, and you're right. We're the ones giving the value of the word. But we're becoming overly paranoid about what the word is going to be, that we're going to lose, like you said, I guess you said it, we're going to lose sight of the core idea or what it is. Or, I don't know.
Or are people just always going to, anytime you, I guess it really comes down to not even race, because it's everywhere. It's the mentality of us versus them. That's
East
really what it is.
versus West.
It's, you go with your coworkers or your family. It's me and them, forgetting that we're all really just one aspect of this giant organism called humanity. This is why we need to, like, link up our brains and have all of our thoughts transparent to each other, because...
And then what?
Then you
it's
become
like technology spiraling down.
Yeah, then the planet becomes an actual alive organism. This is my crazy fantasy. I feel like I've already said this in a podcast before.
You should write a book.
My crazy fantasy is all human minds, anything that's alive, a living consciousness, is connected and can experience. But so it's like. The cells of an organism, right? So we're bodies that have cells, and our cells are alive, but the consciousness level of the cell is just like
function.
Function. But we are so. Then when you take us as a species,
and we're the cells, making the bigger.
And then the whole planet wakes up, right, into another dimension. And so when you talk about traveling the galaxy or traveling the universe, the planet Earth itself is the spaceship. Like, we just take the entire planet, because it's another body, right? It's a celestial body that we are it. And then we just zoom, or whatever we do. We zap to this galaxy or that galaxy, and we meet up with other bodies and merge and copulate, and I don't know.
Wow. No, cool shit.
We went a little too far into the future. But
sounds...
So anyway, in 2013, you...
oh my God, how did you even remember?
That's what we were talking about before in part 1, right?
Oh, so yeah, I came back from Australia, brand new person. I backpacked for 2 months, the southwest corner. I met where the Southern and Indian Ocean meet and the humpback whales. It was beautiful.
Jesus Christ.
It's beautiful.
Okay.
I loved it. I'm so
some amazing experiences.
Yeah, I guess. It's crazy. And I hitchhiked first. I got a lot of bucket lists.
Who picked you up?
4 guys. Oh my God. Of course, they're all men. So
is this like one of those,
first
back van?
No, I was paranoid as hell.
Why did you even get in the thing?
Because over there it's more common.
Okay.
So where here it's like, oh my God, jeepers creepers, hitchhikers. But so yeah, everyone was like, there's a lot of students, international students, so you have a lot of like Europeans and the French, and they all do it, so they all were like, hey, it's just normal. So I got picked up, and the first few guys just took me like a couple kilometers. Back then it was kilometers in Australia. How many kilometers did you take me?
Right.
But yeah, one of them was a dad on his way to work. It was like a van. There was like 4 car seats in the back, and I just was.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so much
another
fun.
guy was on his way to work. Yeah, people are very nice. Then the guy who took me for the longest, I had to check him. Like, I had to say, hey, sorry. So he picked me up, old man.
Check him?
Yeah, you know, when you're paranoid and you're like, okay, if something's uncomfortable, I will.
Right.
So I made it clear to all, of course, I'm a girl, I'm first time hitchhiking. If I feel uncomfortable, please stop the car. I would take a picture of their license plate. It was just whatever, safe. Yeah. Just so people know I'm not stupid or naive. But he kept, I guess he picked up a lot of women. And some women are, I guess, would do favors.
Did he ask
for
you?
rides.
Did he try and hint something?
He kind of hinted.
How? How did he do it? I want to know.
He was telling me a story about a woman he picked up. And he was like, she would put her head on my lap. If you want to put your head on my lap because you're tired. Yeah.
He said that?
Yeah.
He said,
like,
he said I had a girl that put her head on my lap.
And I took care of her. And I got, he was trying to like be my sugar daddy with like getting a blowjob. And
oh my God. That's when
I said,
over,
listen.
please.
No, I didn't even say that. I said, listen, I don't want you to misunderstand what this is. Like, I don't want it to go on to be uncomfortable. And
that's when you hope he doesn't like.
And he
pull
did
out
it,
a
and but I feel like people are different over there. Like you don't.
They'll just test the boundaries and see where.
Yeah, and it was it. I checked him real quick, and it was I rode like 200 kilometers with this guy.
Right.
And then I stopped at a truck stop. And then a guy picked me up in a school bus. He converted into a camper, and it was the most awesome thing ever. And then he took me the last like haul.
That's so cool.
And then we exchanged numbers. He took me fishing a couple days after. It was very like, people out there are just, couch surfing is big over there.
Yeah, I had signed up for that.
Yeah.
At one point, I had a chance to have. You ready for this? It was my friend Attila's birthday, 30th birthday, and he wanted us up there. You know, he wanted us up there. I had to come to his birthday.
Up there where?
To New York.
Okay.
And I should also say that now, like, I can't see this fucking guy. Every time he comes down to visit my friend Noel, I'm like, tell me when you're coming down. He never tells me. So I haven't seen him in a couple years. But it was important to come to his 30th. I had 2 girls from Germany that wanted to stay at my place, and they wanted to be taken to Philly and shown around.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
Yeah, I had to tell them no, so I could go up to his fucking.
Well, you could have taken them.
They didn't want to because they had somewhere to be and an agenda.
Yeah,
to this day, it's like,
you could still do it. I mean, it's pretty interesting. You meet people from all walks of life.
Yeah.
Like, I met so many people.
Mm-hmm.
Japan,
it's a wonderful
Thailand,
idea. You know, if you want to travel.
Yeah, it's like the woofing. You could work on a farm, like you could go.
Oh,
really? It was big over there. You work for the day, and they feed you, and you have a place to sleep, and you just go to the next place. Like they take you around, and they show you like.
Is that only in Australia?
No, I think it's in. It's also in Europe.
Wow.
Yeah, there's so much opportunity. It's in America. There's so much opportunity, and that's one thing I tell the kids. Like, I try to tell them, like, if you could do anything, it's travel, because you're building on your experiences, and it's really your experiences that make you who you are. Like, one of our kids went to Mexico on like a charity work with their parents, and it's awesome. Like, that's where they're gonna learn. So what if they miss 2 weeks of school? They're learning a culture, like.
Yeah.
So.
Well, even that, and let's just say stay local. Right?
Yeah.
Well, what do we do all day long for 8 hours? They're in these rooms, they're at desks, they're looking at screens.
Yeah.
And we're trying to teach them concepts that they could better learn by
discovery
being in the real world through discovery, and even working in the community and finding apprenticeships at businesses. You could design something like that.
Yeah.
Where all of these things that you're learning in school suddenly become relevant in the real world. So that they learn that they can affect change in the real world from the get-go.
Yeah.
Like that's why I always think back to like when I was in high school, I did Key Club. Remember Key Club?
Yeah, I wasn't part of any club.
Yeah,
it was
this. It was too cool for that shit.
What you mean? I had the earrings and.
Yeah, I was like the editor-in-chief for the newspaper and all this shit. Because the weed and all the drugs that didn't come till junior year of college.
Wow.
Senior year, definitely. But Key Club was awesome because it was all this volunteer community shit. So we would go, we'd clean up parks, we'd go to the elderly homes. And put on a dance form. You know? I had old ladies asking me for autographs afterward just because I was dancing with them. And you'd go see little kids at the Head Start and do all this service shit. It makes you feel so good.
Why don't we do this at our school?
Because somebody has to be willing to get involved.
Oh,
you're
jaded.
Looking at me like,
you're so jaded, man.
It's not that I'm jaded. It's that I feel like I have to conserve my energy as much as possible. Right. I guess that's what it comes down to. You know, I would love to do more. Like, again, it goes back to what we were saying earlier. I don't know if we were saying it on the podcast, but talking about never feeling like you're doing enough.
Oh yeah, the guilt.
The guilt.
Yeah. I don't remember.
Right.
I don't think we got that.
Okay, so anyway, so then you come back home.
And Mom just had surgery and parental child. Oh, that year I left was a big, problem because it's like, oh my God, she's leaving and who's parental child. Mm-hmm. And that's when I told my sister was out in Florida and I called her and I said, listen, you're going to come up and deal with these motherfuckers for a couple months because I'm over it.
Right.
And she came up and she stepped up to the plate and took care of them for a year. And then I went to London and I worked on a pig farm. So right after Australia, I didn't want to come home. Yeah. I guess it was an escape. Right. It was an escape from the reality, escape from those responsibilities that it felt so good to kind of have that time to really come into your own.
That's the time to do it.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it, that's the time.
And I guess when I came back, I promised myself I would be that person where you're mindful of not being, letting go of guilt and letting go of the unhappiness that is just.
So you wouldn't have been that person if you hadn't gone out there, right? You
would
have stayed and gotten
Yeah, but I'm back to that person that I didn't want to be.
When did that happen?
That just, I guess, after, right after teaching. Getting it to so recent.
Okay, so you started at our school.
Yeah. November 9th, 2000 and, was it 17? 16.
Right. So you had been back home for how long at that point?
2 years.
And just working jobs on and off. And then you just...
Wait a minute. 2015 I came back. So I was back for a year.
All right.
Oh, yeah, that year. The forgotten year.
See? I knew there was a gap in the timeline. That's what
when I came back, I took care of Mom. She had just had surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know when I was in Australia, this is how I got into teaching. Again, back to how I got into. So in Australia, there's so many international students, and they're all there to learn English. So the Australian teachers have such a thick accent that most of them would come to me to learn English because they were like, the American accent is very neutral. It's what we listen to in music, TV. Yeah. Everything's American. So I was like, yeah, we're the cool kids on the block. Yeah, everyone understands us. Right. So I was teaching it. It was like a Japanese girl, a lot of Brazilians out there. So there was a few people that I was actually a Turkish girl teaching them English every night. And then I was like, what the hell? I'm a pretty good teacher. You know?
Yeah,
I should probably do this professionally. And so when I came back, it was in my mind.
Okay,
that's what I was going to do.
Right.
And then I came back, and of course you are like, okay, I need money. Taking care of my mom for a few months was great. My dad never told me to pay for anything. I had no bills. I was living with them. Mm-hmm. But then you become a servant / nurse. Yeah. And it's like, okay, time to stop.
Right.
And then I started.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Go-go dancing. Yeah, I got into the go-go dance.
Dancing for how long?
It was November to February. November, December, January. 4 months.
And was it money motivated?
Yeah, it was solely stack your money and figure out
Was it terrifying in any way, or were you just like a natural?
Well, no, I don't know.
Okay.
It was terrifying being like, especially like getting on stage.
Mm-hmm.
But I worked, so I worked in like the Boondocks. I don't even remember the name of it. Whatever, it was out in like the Hicks of Jersey. So I made it a point to not work anywhere near where I live in that industry. Sure. So I drove like an hour and a half to work every day. But I worked like,
oh my God.
Yeah, I worked a decent, so that was the first place I worked, and it was all right. I mean, a lot of drama, but for the most part, you're not, like, I didn't feel exploited. I didn't feel...
Interesting.
I felt like I was actually doing a service to some of them. And it wasn't like I was servicing these guys. I were literally, like, almost like a psychiatrist or psychologist. Like, they came there.
World's oldest profession.
Exactly.
It's basic human, and these poor people do not get it. Affection or somebody to talk to.
But it's just even just conversation. Like I literally was getting paid to sit down and talk, maybe an occasional massage because of my exercise science and knowing the anatomy. I gave a damn good massage.
Right.
And I'm not going to trick myself and be doing things that I don't want to do. So I made my money the way I did, and it wasn't as much as some of the Brazilians and Russians were racking in for the day, but whatever.
Okay. So then what made you stop that?
Yeah, they got married.
Okay. So
it did.
Skip over that whole thing, but and then you go into teaching.
Then Then
you're like, so I'm seriously doing this.
It was him. It was him. He was the catalyst. So they say, like, every relationship, like, even though I told you, I could literally not remember him in a few years, but I will remember that he was the one who was the catalyst to finding myself.
All right.
So...
That's a good way. That's the best way to look at it.
Yeah. He came into my life for a reason. He saved me at a time I needed saving. Cool beans. Good luck.
Was our place the first that you applied to?
Yes, I was working at the after-school program.
That's right. I forgot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and then applied for a sub, and then subbed, and then kindergarten. And then kindergarten, 5th grade, and that's where I met you.
Maternity leave, and here we are.
Here we are, 6th grade.
Well, now you're 6th grade. Now you're above me, right?
Yeah.
You have the cake gig. Science and Social Studies, 6th grade.
Cool classes.
It is, man.
They love my classes.
I hope they move you, and then I'll take that.
You want to take it?
I would take it.
It's traveling. It's... I'm not trying to, like, don't take my job, Mr. D, but...
No, yeah, the traveling is tough.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah, no, you like your own room.
And there's no
room. It's a shame that you.
I told whatever. The other D. I want to get a pod and put it in the parking lot, like a little, like little recyclable.
The old school used to have a little trailer.
Something.
They can't find.
She
any
said if
space,
you can get funded for that and talk to him. And he approves it, you could totally do it. She's like, I'm down for it.
Couldn't they put you, like, in the admin building on the
first floor? I mean, if they knock down a wall, that's all they really have to do. Knock down a wall and put, like, 3 of those small rooms into one classroom. Whatever. Okay. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We can't change the world.
Right, exactly.
We just gotta adapt.
Just day by day.
That's it.
And that's what I think that was something.
But you would love teaching that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But it's and it's ancient. So, I mean,
if I could spend all my time just focusing on science and social
studies. But those
studies,
are the subjects where you can really, like, delve into everything. And it is discovery and exploration, and it's a shame that we don't teach it starting with the babies, because that's when they're starting to explore. And
I also feel that, real quick, are you 45 minutes for every class?
Yeah.
Only 45.
Yeah, so keep in mind by the time they get settled in, like if you're running late or
right, and reading and math with the 90. Okay, so there's that.
Yeah.
That I don't like about it, but I think what you were saying about the young ones, how they should have it earlier on. I think that a lot of teachers that are teaching those younger grades, this is such a blatant generalization, but it's like every year I ask the same question. Who hates science? Who hates social studies? And, you know, all these hands will go up. And I say, why? And they say, well, my teacher made it boring.
Well,
and,
yeah.
You know? And it's like, well, what the fuck what are these teachers doing? How can you possibly...
But then you have to look at, like, where are they getting it from? Like, their supervisors are coming down on them to push math and reading and writing.
Right. And so
that's their priority, and that's where their focus has been.
Or like I see classes. Okay, so the last 45-minute period of the day, right? And then there's dismissal. And you have until 3:25 to be out there, but...
They start getting them ready at 2:45.
2:45. So that's your science and social studies time. So what's really happening? You know, and they're just using it to...
It's lack of creativity and lack of one, because there is no set curriculum for that, right? Like, you kind of have to do it on your own and
exactly.
do it on your own.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I guess it goes down to passion. If a teacher is not passionate about that, or doesn't know science, or doesn't like science themselves for maybe the very same reason, then they're not going to prioritize it.
Well, it's like math, too. Math anxiety and all that stuff that the kids... Boys are better at math. Another stereotype threat where girls are now limiting themselves in jobs like engineering and like...
Yeah.
Because it's just that association of
and that's the whole thing
gender
of like
roles.
The gender pay gap is there's not really a pay gap. It means that girls are choosing these careers which tend to pay lower.
Yeah. No.
No?
Because I thought the gender pay gap was actually... within a job, the same job.
No, that's the myth. That's what everybody believes. It's based on this correlated data of women are choosing. You know, you'll find a higher percentage of women in those like service jobs,
like motherly jobs, and, social workers, teachers.
But that's not to say that that's what they should be or what they should do. Like, it goes back to what you said. If a young girl does not believe that she can be a scientist or an engineer or a mathematician, you know, and doesn't have that activated, then the trend will tend toward they'll feel like, oh, I'm not going to be that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the opposing argument is no, women are doing that, but there's still this patriarchy that exists that is holding them back, and so you believe that.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, and
I agree.
Yeah.
So
throughout history, women have, you know, we are not society, well, it depends on the society.
See, I always look at it this way, too, is you had all these men in positions of power, right? But women have been behind the scenes all the time. And you know that there have been plenty of women in history that were running those guys.
Had chupsuit, running
without the burden of being the face in front. You know, so women have been fucking with the games. And
but it's like
power in a different way.
When did we get the right to vote?
You're right.
Like we were just saying, World War II was only 100 years ago. Like
yeah, it's fucking crazy. No, you're right. Absolutely.
So we've always been, and we've only just entered the workforce. Like it's all relatively recent. Before, listen, don't get me wrong. I think over time we're gonna evolve and we're gonna become hermaphrodites, and we're not gonna need you. The Y chromosome is gonna shrink to the point of, like you said, we are gonna become whatever.
When they say earlier about dicks, I was like, who needs it?
Yeah. That's it. Got my own dick. I don't need you.
It's retractable.
Yeah. Shit.
I could fuck my own self.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
You never know.
What were we talking about?
2013.
No,
that was it. The present. We were talking about how do we get on gender? Stripping.
Okay. Yeah. So then there will be different kinds of strip clubs, right? Like
there's like nudie strip clubs.
Like in the future, though.
Oh, yeah.
Right? When you have different species.
And different fetishes.
Yeah. I want to go see the snake women wrap around the pole, you know.
Oh, my God.
Actual scales.
The sirens in the aquarium.
Yeah, man. Shit's gonna get awesome.
Cyclops. Well, it's like Futurama.
I never really watched that show.
Well, you
enough.
remember what was her name?
The triple.
Yeah.
I don't remember what her name was, but yeah, the purple chick.
Yeah.
The actress was
Married with Children.
Yes.
Peggy Bundy.
Yes, exactly. All right. So where are we at? How much time are we at on this one?
35. We're good.
Okay.
Time flies when you're having good conversation.
That was a good conversation.
Yeah. So how do you want to end this off?
I never know how to end.
Wrap up.
Let's at least make it a happy ending.
We just.
Sorry. Bad joke. No, but thank you so much because I know you were like I've been trying to get you on for a while, and you finally came and said
It's nerves, and maybe, hopefully, you have good feedback. People listen to the podcast.
It would be nice if people actually listen to the podcast.
I'm going
and
to be honest, I should listen to the podcast.
Yeah, see? It's all right.
I'm an asshole.
Yeah, but I remind you that you're not too busy to listen to a podcast. Yeah. You can listen to a podcast when you're doing all the boring, mundane shit that you don't want to do, and you don't want to be alone with your own thoughts. Listen to a conversation.
That's true.
Of course, the question is it interesting enough to listen to? Now, our conversation, I think, is fucking great.
I mean, yeah.
Who wouldn't want to listen to all that shit?
A lot of people, probably. No offense. We just think we're awesome.
Fair enough.
Well.
All right.
Stop the.
Thank you very much, Maggie. Are we changing it to Maggie?
Maggie Zapparello.
Maggie Zapparello. All right.
Zapparello.
Thanks, Maggie.
Thank you.
One love.
Love you.
It's very powerful having a positive family, the power of the prayer, and God, plus the positive attitude. All those things mean so much to get you through life.
We covered all the important stuff.
That's right. So now let's cover the unimportant stuff.
It's a microcosm of all of the pain of the United States.
Ooh.
Getting these moves.
We left on off on a specific thought thread. You don't remember where we ended it?
I'm not sure I remember what I did yesterday. No, I'm just kidding. When you're in the moment, there's only this moment.
I guess tune in next time when I have some interesting shit to talk about. Other than that, I love you. I love the world. Peace out.
Sir, I avoid responsibility. That way nobody feels compelled to put me in a position of power.
Be excited, because now it's here. Shiny gift of a lesson that you have in front of you. And now you have to work through it. You really have to, if you want to and you're tired of it, you have to work through it.
Why not? And give yourself, I would call it a dose of real reality. I mean, where nothing makes sense but everything works.
Let's be real. None of this is real.
I feel like I'm telling a story.
What's your advice for people in life?
My advice is to stay strong, be helpful, be smart, be brave, be powerful, be kind, and be loving to everyone, even your pets.
People are like, wouldn't you get lonely when all your loved one dies? Like, no, you get new loved ones.
We really don't know what's in store for us. We really don't know.
Well, would you want to know?
Well, no.
No.
Let's say something bad happened to you. Move on. It already happened. Just move on to the better things in life.
I hope it's really not just us. Right? And everyone else is like, self-create eternal hell. No. Every waking moment is a joyous experience of growth and opportunity. I find myself totally spiritual-centered and at peace with the balance between me and the rest of the universe.
What a heck of time!
After all that, they won the game.